I am calling to order the regular meeting of Town of Gibsons Council of July 22nd, 2025 at 3:30 p.m. And we're honored to be gathered on the traditional territories of the Skohomish Nation. First, we need to approve the agenda, moved by Councillor Kroll, seconded by Councillor Lemley. All those in favor? That motion carries. And we have minutes to adopt from July 15th, a special council meeting, July 15th, moved by Councillor Kroll, seconded by Councillor Lumley. All those in favor? Those minutes are adopted. And business arising from the last meeting. At that meeting, we did have a delegation from the Sunshine Coast Tourism regarding the municipal regional district tax for accommodations. We have a recommendation here, but we also have a proposed motion coming from Councillor Thompson that I don't think made it into our agenda, but it's our staff does have it for the record, and I'll go to Councillor Thompson to read it out and provide. Yeah, because it didn't make it onto the agenda, so we do need it.
Thank you. That the Town of Gibson supports the Sunshine Coast Tourism Society's MRDT renewal application and proposed rate increase to 3%. And further, that the Town of Gibson's requests that any MRDT revenue for Lower Sunshine Coast housing beyond the Affordable Housing Society's Regional Housing Coordination wage be allocated 50% to the Town of Gibson's Affordable Housing Fund to directly support the construction of affordable housing units on the Sunshine Coast.
That's second by Councillor Kroll. And do you want to?
Do you want me to preamble?
Yeah. Do you want to explain your rationale for it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Thank you. And thanks to Annie Wise, who was a big help to me in gathering a lot of information on this front. I presented to Council details on this motion in advance of today, which summarized the process involved in the collection of the MRDT and OAP tax, the application that must be submitted and is done through Annie Wise of the Sunshine Coast Tourism, the approval of the application and timeline, and finally the funds being forwarded from the province to Sunshine Coast Tourism and then onwards to the SCRD. We all shared a concern that there is no jurisdiction-specific breakdown on the tax revenues, and instead a single combined total is distributed to Sunshine Coast Tourism and then on to SCRD based on the application that was brought forward as the Affordable Housing Annual Plan. And this, despite the fact that each local government contributes differently through tourism regulation and investment and faces varying pressures on infrastructure and housing. Gibsons has shown a strong leadership in affordable housing, both in policy and resources, and I believe we should be advocating for a more equitable share of funds collected within our community. So while we're being asked today to support the Sunshine Coast Tourism's MRDT renewal and a proposed increase from 2 to 3%, I put forward this motion to ensure that any funds exceeding the current commitments to cover the coast be shared more fairly, specifically with 50% directed to the Town of Gibson's own Affordable Housing Fund.
Thanks. And I think that, addresses some of the concerns we have. If we can achieve it, it's a good position for the town to take. And presumably that the other 50% would go to hopefully good affordable housing projects on the seashelled area of the coast. Perhaps they might want to take a position for their affordable housing fund to receive 50, but just the way it goes 50-50 between Powell River and Sunshine Coast, I think we're in a fair position to say about half the population is Roberts Creek and south. So, and we definitely take on the affordable housing pressure for that, for the whole Sunshine Coast, really, and in terms of the affordable housing we've been building here in the town of Gibsons, and just can't really be accomplished in areas of the coast with less density or the zoning that just isn't appropriate for it. So I think this is a good position. Any other comments on this motion? All those in favor of the motion? The motion carries. So now we are on to bylaws. We've got just for adoption the same bylaw we discussed extensively last week. The two bylaws together, really, one is for the zoning amendment and one's for the official community plan amendment. So I see moved by Councillor Kroll for those two bylaws to be passed, seconded by Councillor Thompson. Any discussion? All those in favor? The motion carries. And now on to the one report for this meeting. Our natural asset technician has provided us a report on the BC Timber Sales Sunshine Coast operating plan for 2025 to 2029 with a recommendation as well. So I will go to our natural asset technician.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Sorry, it's a little awkward here. Through you, as outlined in the report, for background, we had brought this, the watershed assessment from Polar Geoscience back in 2023. And since then, we have, that was presented by BC Timber Sales, and we had reviewed the assessment with our hydrogeologists and watershed hydrologists, and the operating plan has come back again, as it does every year, for referral. And so staff are recommending that we bring back the recommendations from the original staff report to direct BC Timber Sales for the 3 bullets that are outlined in the recommendations. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from council? I mean, I will say I do want to highlight this as some extra work that our natural asset technician does and is supported by other members of staff as well to really keep on top of what's happening with BC Timber Sales and what's happening with forestry in our region in direct connection to our watershed and concerns for aquifer recharge. And it's critical. It's in our strategic plan, and really, I know all of council really supports and appreciates this ongoing work. Is there a mover for the recommendation? Councillor Kroll, seconded by Councillor Thompson. Any discussion on the motion? Councillor Kroll.
Thank you, Mayor White. And I would just like to sort of reiterate some of the comments you made. We've been advocating for the protection of our watershed, and I really appreciate the fact that our natural assets technician and staff are really keeping feet to the fire on this issue, because it's just one of these things that, they come and go, and timber blocks, 1 minute they're talking about them being logged, and the next minute, you don't hear anything for a while, and then all of a sudden the auction is next week. So I really appreciate this, really conscientious effort that's being applied here, and I particularly like the item 3 in the recommendation of the installation of groundwater monitors, because us getting our sort of more accurate measurements outside our boundaries, I think, is critically important. So I really applaud the work that's being done. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Kroll. And I guess another piece to this too is just the frustration of it is that there's just so many silos and authorities when it comes to our watershed, which I know our CAO is always exhaustively keeping track of and listing. It just really, we're trying to take on a lot, our staff to really bridge it. And it really speaks to the need for watershed security governance, co-governance for our watershed, and so that all these interests can be brought together at the same table. And really, it's more of a routine for something like this to come forward, and for BC Timber Sales to know the expectations of the community when it comes to the kind of reporting and studies that we would find useful, instead of us needing to do this extra work and then can continuously ask for it, which we will do again, in the absence of a proper governance model. So all those in favor? The motion carries. And on to next meeting. Our next meeting of council will be in September 9th, 2025 at 3:30 p.m. So we're looking forward to a long-awaited break after a succession of a lot of meetings this summer so far. I think we've done enough meetings to make up for August already, so we can take it off. Is there a motion to adjourn? Moved by Councillor Kroll, seconded by Councillor Thompson. All those in favor? The motion carries.